Today I will show you how to create this simple loading animation with a checkmark in Figma Motion and export it as a GIF. For anyone using the free version, keep in mind that at the time of recording, export scaling is limited to a maximum of 3x. So make sure you consider this when choosing the initial size of your animation. Otherwise, you may later want to export a larger version and run into this limitation. Let's get started. First, create a frame that is 300 by 300 pixels. Name it Loader Animation and remove its fill. Next, draw a circle that is 200 by 200 pixels and place it inside the frame. Name this layer Background Ring. Remove its fill and add a stroke. Set the stroke color to gray. Set position to center and set weight to 8 pixels. Now let's create the element that will gradually fill the ring. Duplicate the background ring and name the new layer Loading Arc. Set its stroke color to blue. Now we need to create the initial state of the loader. To do this, rotate the Loading Arc layer by 90 degrees. Select the circle. When you hover over the top part of it, a small control called the arc handle will appear. Drag it slightly to the right until the sweep value is about 96.5%. You will now see 3 arc controls. Drag the middle control, which is labeled Ratio when you hover over it, all the way up. A new option called Endpoints will appear in the Stroke panel. Set it to Round. The Loading Arc is ready. Now let's create the first animation, the loader filling all the way around. Select our frame and switch to motion mode. Set the timeline duration to 3077 milliseconds. You can also adjust the timeline zoom level to make the timeline easier to work with. Select Loading Arc and click Turn on Auto Keyframe. Move the timeline play ahead to 2000 milliseconds. In the panel on the right, change the sweep value from 3.48% to 100%. Click play or press the spacebar to preview the animation. Hover over the line connecting the two keyframes and click the easing icon. The easing settings will appear on the right. Select Linear for even, consistent motion and preview the animation again. In the playback controls, next to Change Time Format, leave the playback mode set to Loop. You can click the setting to switch between different playback modes, such as no looping or ping-pong. The first part is ready. Now let's create the part where the inner open shrinks towards the center and the circle fills completely with color. Duplicate background ring and name the new layer Fill Circle. Change its color to the same blue as the Loading Arc. Set the stroke position to Inside. Move the timeline playhead to 2000 milliseconds and select Fill Circle. In the Appearance section on the right, set Opacity to 0% and add a keyframe by clicking the diamond next to Opacity. Next, move the playhead to 2055 milliseconds and add a second keyframe with opacity set to 100%. Set the easing to linear. Move the playhead back to 2000 milliseconds and add a keyframe for stroke weight. We want the stroke to expand inward. Move the playhead to 2360 milliseconds, set the stroke weight to 100 pixels, and add another keyframe. Set the easing to linear here as well. Let's preview the result. Great, the loader is working, and the ring fills completely. The final step is adding the checkmark. It will grow and then become slightly smaller in the end. I've already prepared a vector checkmark. Name the layer checkmark and place it in the center of the frame. Move the timeline playhead to 0 milliseconds and add a keyframe for scale with a value of 100%. Next, move the playhead to 2367 milliseconds and set scale to 267%. Then move the playhead to 3077 milliseconds and set scale to 240%. For the growth animation, select Ease Out. For the slide degrees at the end, select Linear. Now we need to add opacity to this checkmark. Move the playhead to 2367 milliseconds and set opacity to 0%. Then move the playhead to 2800 milliseconds and set opacity to 100%. Set the easing to Ease Out. Now it's time to see the final result. And here is the finished animation. Now we can export it. While staying in the motion mode, scroll down in the right-hand panel and select the format you want to export. For example, you can export the animation as MP4, WebM, GIF or SVG. That's it! I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Save it so you can easily find it later.